she said, all up in my head. It doesn't matter what you're going through. You know that this is life according to what he said, she said. Opinions are come around, Mars versus Venus. Sit back and watch it go down. Let's talk about it. Talk about.
Welcome to this edition of He Said, She Said, the show where we discuss life according to him and her. I'm Nicole Piljak, joined by my co-host, the lovely Miss Beyonce Fox, Shelton Smith, and Rob Welch. We're so excited that you could join us today as we'll be discussing the presidency of Barack Obama. Also, a little later on in the broadcast, we'll be joined by two American voters who are here to tell us why their candidate should be our next commander-in-chief.
And Nicole, guys, it's so hard to believe that it's been almost 8 years since Barack Obama first took office. The United States Senator from Illinois grabbed the attention and America's hearts with his motto of hope and change. Let's take a look at where it all started.
One year from today, you will go into the voting booth and you will select the next president of the United States of America. Now, if we are really serious about winning this election, Democrats, then we can't live in fear of losing.
This is a moment that a lot of people have been waiting for. This is a moment that potentially could be rather historic. And CNN can now project that Barack Obama, 47 years old, will become the president-elect of the United States.
It's the answer spoken by young and old, rich and poor, Democrat and Republican, black, white, Hispanic, Asian, Native American, gay, straight, disabled and not disabled. Americans who send a message to the world that we have never been just a collection of individuals or a collection of red states and blue states. We are and always will be the United States of America.
Wow. And that actually makes me kind of emotional to see
Right.
that, thinking back to that.
Man, time flies when you're having fun.
No, I can't believe that's been almost 8 years ago.
Yeah, amazing.
Such an important time in American history. It really was. I can tell you where I was the day that Barack Obama was elected. We were sitting at the Hilton Towers, overlooking the entire event at Grand Park. It was just the most amazing time in history.
And that's so funny that you said that because I hosted that event. And I was the person responsible on stage with the mic to tell the whole world that Barack Obama had become president. I was so excited. Oh my God. We were walking in the streets. I was walking northbound in the southbound lanes of Michigan Avenue. We just did not care. Oh my goodness. What a memory.
Yeah, watching that on TV, I wondered like just how crazy it was, just like the chaos. So, but I know for me, I was home with my son who was 10 months old at the time, and just overcome with emotion, just thinking about that night and what it meant for the possibilities for his life. And so it was a great, great night. So
That was a remarkable experience for me as well. You know, I had the privilege to go to the inauguration. And I remember the atmosphere was comprised of a lot of older African American men and women who at one point did not even have the right to vote. And now they're going to stand on the Hill to honor the election of the first African American president. And so that was truly a pioneer experience. It was very stellar. It was a very warm environment, and I felt emotional the night that he was elected, watching it at home and watching his speech. It kind of resonated with me how the masses of assembly came together to hear Dr. Martin Luther King. And so our history has just unfolded. And in its own way, maybe history has repeated itself.
Wow. Now, where were you on election night?
On election night, I was home. I watched it. I watched the votes. I watched him win Ohio and the states that kind of identified governing who the next president would be. And it really began to bring emotion to me. I was just thanking God for what was coming into fruition and thinking about our ancestors. And I remember taking my grandmother, who was born in 1920, who's now 96 years old, to the election poll to vote. And escorting her in, and not only was she an African American, but she being a woman, women didn't have the right to vote either. So it was just really, really an emotional time, and it just made me give thanks and praise to God that all things are possible.
What did you guys think of the speech on the night that he was elected? Did anything resonate with you?
You know, it was just brilliant. I mean, he's a great orator anyway. So I mean, to hear Barack Obama talk, it's mesmerizing. Just to see this man with that much charisma doing what he does, it was just amazing. And just to be in that moment with all those people who were cheering on our next president of the United States was just phenomenal.
Yeah. And the fact that it was in our backyard.
Absolutely.
We're from Chicago. This is where we live.
I saw diversity. I saw humanity
Absolutely.
in that crowd.
Absolutely.
And so it took me to a place of acceptance for all.
I felt not only did we look united, but I actually felt united. I really did. I know there's a lot of, racism and stuff still very much alive in this country, but that night, for some reason, it was a big love fest. I loved it.
It was. It was.
Obama's promises, fulfilled or broken? We'll talk about it more when we come back.
Barack Obama promised a new dawn of American leadership as he delivered his victory address to more than 100,000 people in Chicago's Grant Park after being elected the first African-American president. But did he deliver? He said, she said, took to the streets of Chicago to find out.
First black president, 2 terms, doing his thing, man. He done gave a lot of y'all motivation, man. He done gave a lot of us opportunity throughout the struggle, man.
Obama hasn't done much. I guarantee you, nobody else is gonna do much either.
It's the best thing that's happened to us this century.
Obama had a great 8-year term. Thank you, Obama.
I think the guy is a coward. Here we are, he doesn't back up our military. People are getting killed by terrorists, and he don't address it. He's a bum. Don't like him. I can't wait for it to get done. Bye, Obama.
Not surprising. I mean, that's pretty much how it's been his whole presidency. So not surprising. Are you guys surprised by anything you heard?
Not at all. It's been mixed reviews. He's had some ups, he's had some harsh critiques, but he's made some accomplishments. And I'm pretty content with the President Obama I came to know.
So what would you give him?
I would give him
scale from A, B, C, D, E, or
I would give him an A for affordable health care.
Good one. I guess I would give him a B plus, a close A. I think there was times where I expected more from him. I think that, there was a lot of disrespect, not that that's his fault, but I just kind of wish that he would have took a tougher stand on certain things.
I think I love the new Obama that's now. I like the last 2 years that he has done. I think he asserted himself like he should have been doing all along. I'm going to have to give him an A, though.
Okay.
I think he did some amazing things for a lot of
Oh,
people.
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
I'll give him a B, maybe even a B minus, because there were some things that were a little rough around the edges, and it's nothing for him personal, but like you mentioned, the way he may have handled some things, I probably wanted a little bit more punch on some things.
Yeah.
Everybody's not going to like every president. Every president has had their criticism, and presidents after President Obama will be criticized. So it's not at all a color thing. It's the way you handle things. So.
What about the level of disrespect, though? Like he endured so much.
Oh God! The from the cartoon drawings of monkeys and things of that nature from early on, from people in southern states and regions saying some harsh things that were very racially toned, and I think that it even came to a point where there was someone that attempted to criticize Sasha and Malia. And so children are always off limits. Children are always off limits. And so I think that family, remember, he was the first president that needed security before having been elected. So he had a form of Secret Service just in a campaign mode. So the threats began there. So the disrespect was, you know, and I think speaking to what Beyonce said, I think that you expect or would hope that he would reflect, you know, that he is the commander in chief. And sometimes you just have to take a stance. You're not going to please everybody, but you have to take a stance. But I credit him to capturing Osama bin Laden. You know, he sent troops in. He, you know, affordable health care. And he's done a lot of things that, you know, reflects an embrace of humanity. So as a president and as a leader, he did get some major things accomplished.
Do you think would you take 8 more years of Barack or 4
I would
more
take
years?
8 more years of Barack easily. I think like I said, I think Barack Obama did an amazing job, especially when he was stacked up against. I mean, these people came after him over and over any chance they could possibly get.
Yeah.
And every time he showed poise, he showed grace, and he showed what true leadership was really about. Like you said, I think sometimes he could have came harder on his critics and things like that, but he managed to win in the end. He managed to take all the things that they've done to him and turn into very, very positive things. Our economy is back the way it was pre-Bush. Everything is just much better. I mean, we're not in collapse. Our nation is once again reviewed in the other world as a strong nation that does good. So I think what he brought to the presidency that a lot of other presidents couldn't do was the humanity and the very, 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 very notion of being a human. And he made it very nice for everyone around the world.
Yeah.
Sad to see him go, Beyonce?
You know what? He had a good run. He had a good run. I'm interested in seeing what's next. You know, some days I do wish that a president can just stay in office until he's voted out. That's not going to ever happen. He did his 2 terms. He did them quite well. And let's see what's next.
Well, behind every great man is an even greater woman. Up next, First Lady Michelle Obama.
Welcome back to He Said, She Said. Michelle Obama, the First Lady of the United States of America, married to the man that holds the highest office in the United States. She says that she has no political ambitions of her own. What do you guys think about her Let's Move campaign?
I think it's good. There has
sure?
been,
I'm a little reluctant.
no, it's good because there have been statistics, very, very high child obesity in this country. And I'm a teacher and I see young girls that are overweight and something needs to be done about it. And the fact that she teamed up with your girl, that other Beyonce, that added, you know, that added something to it because young girls can relate to Beyonce. So I thought it's a good campaign. It's something she should probably continue even after they're out of office.
But do you think she'll run for office? Do you think that's in her future?
She's not presidential.
Right, she's not presidential. She looks presidential, but she's not a politician.
She's first lady, not presidential.
I think she's over it. I think they want to just go live a normal life with their 2 daughters. I totally think she's over it.
Right. I think she's interested in being a mom and being a wife and being supportive as a humanitarian and a philanthropist. I don't know that she's on the campaign trail to lead the nation. I think that she has other avenues and goals and an agenda for herself.
How does she do as First Lady?
I think she was amazing as First Lady. But going back to you were saying leading the nation, maybe she doesn't have aspired to be president, but there's many more offices that she can
Right,
do.
I was going to say.
Easily be a senator, she can easily be
Secretary of State.
There's
Absolutely.
a lot of things that she could do
Agreed.
that does not have to do with the presidency. So I, who knows? I mean, she's young. She's a young woman. There's a lot of things that she can do in her life. As far as that Let's Go campaign.
Let's move
campaign. As far as that goes, I think it was a smart campaign. I think when you think about everything that's going on in these communities and these children who are very obese, and we know exercise has a lot to do with mental health as well.
Yeah.
So you think of all these other things that she has done for the children and for America. It's just the Let's Get Moving campaign was just smart. It was smart. Now how it was received, maybe not so great. But you know, Americans, we want our cake, we want our cookies, we want everything. We want everything.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think it was a smart campaign. Did it work so well? Maybe not. Yeah.
Now, you say that she was a great First Lady, and I think I would have to agree with that. Yeah. But how was she portrayed in the media? Like, I don't feel like she was portrayed great in the media. I think that they try to portray her at times, not all the time, but at times as an angry black woman. I mean, do you guys agree with that? Or
I do. I absolutely do. I can't recall what the situation was, but remember when President Obama, they were at some event and he was sitting next to a lady, and the lady was pretty flirtatious with the president, but you know, the media, they're really slick. They can take certain shots and piece it together as a story, but that's really not the story. You know what I mean? So they made her really look like
and often
one of those types. Yeah, that's not a good look at all.
And I don't think she is an angry black woman. I think she's a very confident black woman. I don't think she's concerned about President Obama being extramarital in any matter. I think that when she spoke at Tuskegee commencement exercise, they took some of the content out of her speech, and that became a misrepresentation of who she is, because she was talking about the struggles of African American students, and when you're seeking achievement, and people were saying that because she's the first lady and because she's of a level of wealth, that was not applicable to her. Well, it's applicable to her because prior to earning that status, she was an African American young lady growing up in an environment that didn't always see her with the promises of First Lady. So she was not always Madam Michelle Obama. You know, she was just Michelle. And she had to work hard to become an attorney. She worked hard to earn the right in her place in professional society. And so I think that we know how the media does. We know how, we take things in sound bites and we convert them in what we want them to be so that we can inflate something unworthy and unattractive.
Like how much money she's spending on her clothes. It's so absurd. I mean, they get really upset. I was reading that her last, at the last State of the Union, that there was a lot of outrage because she had on a $2,000 dress. I mean, she's the first lady of the United States of America.
I think they just do it to women who are assertive. Because remember, Hillary Clinton was very much into the politics of what her husband was doing. And when she asserted herself as this woman who was smart, they came down on her too. So I think a lot of times it's not such a black issue. It's just an issue of there's a sexist issue going on there. No one wants to see a woman assert herself as a man does. So it becomes very uncomfortable for a man to see a woman in that role. Hence, we've never had a woman president.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
But that could soon change, right? Talking about Michelle Obama and the outrage over her clothes, she's one of the best dressed first ladies, in my opinion. Ever. I mean,
she slayed it.
Oh, yes.
She slayed it.
Every time.
Arms out. I will say this, though. There's one thing about her fashion that I think, if we looked at the pros and the cons, the tapered look is more of a compliment to her. Those dresses that flare out, they make her look like a full figure, and it's nothing wrong with full figure. It's beauty. However, no, but it's not true to her size. I'm not condemning anyone for wanting full foot, but I think the tapered look is a more fitted. It gives her a more lean structure because she's a tall in stature lady. And so when she wears something that flares out on the prom attire or the prom look, it doesn't complement her body structure as much as the tapered look. But I still say she slayed it because nobody has rocked it like Michelle Obama.
And with that in mind, I would like to show you the top looks that I believe that Michelle Obama has pulled off the last 8 years.
I would love to see them.
One of my all-time favorite Michelle Obama looks was this piece here by Thom Browne. It was a very beautiful jacket dress with J. Crew belt around it. One great thing that Michelle Obama has shown American women is that you can mix highs with lows. So this is, like I said, this is an affordable and obtainable belt by J. Crew mixed with a very beautiful Thom Browne dress. The next look that I like a lot is the Michael Kors dress. I'm not a big fan of Michael Kors, but this beautiful silk pleated dress is one of a scene stealer. This next dress we're about to show is a cobalt blue dress by Jason Wu. Jason Wu is one of her favorite designers, and she wears a lot of clothes by him. What do you guys think about this one?
I love that.
She looks like a finer woman.
You know, I love everything that she wears by him. Like, to me, she looks best in his designs.
clearly this is my absolute favorite. This is a dress by my favorite designer, Alexander McQueen. This is one of the dresses that Michelle Obama wore to the White House State Dinner in January of 2011. Silk.
Beautiful.
Love it.
This dress is by a black designer, Tracy Reese. This dress was done for Michelle Obama when she was leaving out for Mexico City. It's a full flirted skirt, and it's just beautiful.
I noticed and I guess I know why, she has her arms out often because she looks so beautiful with them, but she wears a lot of clothing with her arms exposed.
She kind of put the patent on that, the whole sleeveless piece.
Yeah.
This particular dress that we're about to show now is by Naeem Khan. Naeem Khan is a Indian American who designed this silver applique dress for Michelle Obama when the president from India and his wife came for some dinner.
The detail on that
was
is
in
amazing.
2009. This black dress was by an Asian American designer, Vera Wang. It's one of the looks that Sheldon, you said you don't too much care for. It's one of those.
Did you say that?
Flare out.
Sheldon.
That was one of my favorite looks.
Yeah, she was stunning.
I like the
Barbie doll.
Beautiful.
Yes.
Another dress is another dress that she wore, but this was the very first election of Barack Obama. This was a pale yellow and green sequin number here.
Don't care for this
Yeah,
one at all.
I agree,
it's very
Beyonce.
grandma looking and very like some other first lady. It's
Yeah.
not her signature style.
And
at all.
yes, my
remember
least
her
favorite.
walking? Another dress that I thought was really, really fun and really, really flirty. I don't know if I can say flirty for the first lady, but it was a very flirty, cute dress.
Love that one.
I wonder, can you go out with my arms out?
Sure you can.
Yes, you can.
I wouldn't want to offend anyone.
Yes, you can. Yes, you can.
He said, she said, we'll be back right after this. Being the children of the President of the United States can't be that easy. Some people may criticize you, the scrutiny can be harsh and cruel, but I think that Malia and Sasha made it pretty effortless.
I agree. I think they actually did a great job with them, just kind of keeping them out of the spotlight. I think that they did, because you rarely even, would see them. So I think that they did a great job keeping them out of the spotlight.
Right, I think they did. They needed to shield those young people from the media and from harsh criticisms and things of that nature. And I think that you never know how long something is going to impact an individual, and it starts in their childhood. So, it's a big platform, these young people. I think one of them was maybe 6 when President Obama was first elected. And so all of their childhood has been spent in the spotlight. And so I think it was very sensitive for their growing and developing as young ladies that they didn't hear a lot of things to have to process and for that to be fed into them.
I think they probably tried to give them as normal as a life as possible. And I know Michelle Obama talked about that coming into office, that was one of her goals, was to just try to make things normal for them. I think she said that no one was allowed to clean their rooms, that they actually had to clean their own rooms in the White House. And so
and still earn allowance.
Absolutely.
And things like that. And another thing that really helped is the fact that Michelle's mother moved into the White House as well. So you've got grandma there instead of all these governesses and assistants. So they made it really real.
Now, Shelton, you spoke earlier about keeping kids off limits. And I don't know if they were off limits. Didn't we have a situation where someone was scrutinizing them because they were at a press conference with the president and yeah.
Yes, that was. And it's unfortunate, because once again, whatever one feels about president and first lady, that's, your take on them. But leave the innocence of their children out of that. I don't think that's fair play. I think that's really harsh. And it really speaks to what type of person that individual may be.
And the crazy part is what they had on was just so normal teenage stuff, preteen.
Exactly.
It wasn't even short. It wasn't even inappropriate.
It
I
wasn't
think the lady
Daisy
just
Dukes. It was nothing
She
inappropriate.
just wanted to say something, but she got fired.
She did.
How about that?
Well, too,
VX.
you have to realize too, one thing, that these people, look, the Obamas, have enough money to shield their children from all that kind of stuff too. And being the president of the United States, you have all this protection around your children. So a lot of the things that they probably did do, we would never know if they did it or not.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
I think it was great that they showed them in this light of these as being young children. but they had the resources to do that, and so many of us don't.
Right.
So when we look at these pictures of, oh, they were just great kids, it was just lovely, they did this and that. Yeah, of course they could if you have
To show
that
them
kind of
away.
money to shield you from.
Well, that's important. I think for any family, whether you have the economic resources to do that or not, I think it's important to keep children out of certain environments and certain critiques, because kids just want to be kids. They didn't ask to come here, but when we have kids, we introduce them to the wholesomeness of what family value is, and we are to protect our children. That's what parenting and guardianship is all about. And so I think that it's just important to keep your kids. Some parents don't allow their children to go on social media. I have friends that don't allow their children on Facebook because they don't want them introduced to everything, too much exposure. And so when you're of celebrity status and you're of the status quo as the president and first lady, then you're all the more criticized for everything. And unfortunately, this family, as I said earlier, has been criticized from the inception of campaign to presidency, and now they're in this office not one term but two elected, not selected, but elected terms. So there's a difference. There is a difference. And so I think that it's phenomenal that those young people were able to grow up, Sasha and Malia, with the experience of what that is all about, and that receptive embrace.
It's hard to believe it's all coming to an end.
It is so sad. Yeah, that's sad. That's sad. But we look forward to what's to come, because we don't know what that's going to be. So on the road to the Oval Office, who will it be? He Said, She Said. We'll be right back.
Hillary for America? Or are you ready to feel the burn? Our guest today is here to answer that question. Let's welcome to the show, Adriana Coco. Hey, Adriana.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Well, thank you for being here. Now we're going to get right into it. You describe yourself as an impressionable millennial. Hillary Clinton is running as the first female presidential candidate. However, a recent poll of Democratic voters in New Hampshire found that 64% of women under the age of 45 supported Sanders, while only 35% backed Clinton. Where does Hillary Clinton stand with you, and why do you feel she has missed the mark with millennials?
Well, I think that Hillary Clinton is a very intelligent woman, and that her experience and expertise makes her a very important asset in Washington. However, there's an issue in terms of consistency, transparency, and accountability. I can't speak for everyone of my generation, but I definitely think that the support that she has from the older demographic is because of the chance that they had to see her throughout her political career, see the barriers that she's had to break down and the obstacles she's had to overcome to get to arrive at this point in history. But I'm sure that the younger generation feels that she is a part of this establishment that's kind of failed us in almost every aspect. My peers have taken the time to research and looked at her record. They would find certain things that cause concern to elect this woman as the candidate for president.
Okay. Are you single?
No, I'm actually engaged.
Oh, good for you. I'm single. Anyway, it has been said that single women are the most valuable in this year's election. When it comes to issues, what's the most important to you?
It's very hard for me to choose something that's most important, because there's so many aspects of our society that has to go through a reform. And I think that's probably why so many people are flocking to Bernie, because he is calling for this revolution. And there's on both sides of the debates, everyone is calling to take back control from the government, to limit how much power that we're giving it, and to seize back what are our rights. I think that the reason why single women are most important, because they're going to be looking at the issues that have always been considered separate issues rather than American issues.
Where do you stand? Do you feel like the government should continue to fund Planned Parenthood?
Yes. And the reason why I'm saying that is because, once again, we arrive back to the narrative that we've been fed. if you look at the facts surrounding the Planned Parenthood scandal that's been going on, the videos were recorded and put together by a anti-abortion group for the medical progression, if I'm not mistaken. And when you edit a video, you're creating a certain narrative. You want the viewers to see things in a certain light rather than present all the facts to them.
Well, I got a quick question for you. Speaking of Obamacare, how would you rate Obama's time in office?
I definitely think that, especially after inheriting a bad economy, that there's been a lot of challenges that he's had to face. There's been a lot of good that he's done, but I also recognize that there's been some issues, I personally feel. Once again, it's just going back to that narrative that's being put out there. Everyone cast Obama's presidency as kind of this failure. I think that he's done a lot of great things. He's dropped some of the unemployment rates. He's passed a comprehensive healthcare bill that, while it's not perfect, is certainly better than the Health Security Act in '93 that was an utter failure that Hillary Clinton tried to put forward. So I definitely think that there are certain things about his presidency that are, of course, completely that weren't good. Like some of the executive orders, everyone can agree that that was unconstitutional. But in the same token, he's trying to, I believe, trying to bring people together. He's trying to kind of close this division that's there. There's a constant rhetoric of division, especially when you watch the primary debates. It's this divisiveness, and it shouldn't be that. We are for the people, by the people, and that's the way that it should be, not this divisiveness that has, just been running rampant in our election process.
Well, Adriana, very well said, and thank you for joining us today. It was a pleasure having you. Make America Great Again. Up next, Trump supporter Larry Biela is here to tell us why the Donald will do just that. We'll be back in a moment.
Our next guest says that Donald Trump is a visionary businessman, a leader, and his stance on immigration is just what our country needs. Please welcome to the show, Larry Biela.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, Larry, I'm going to jump right into this one.
Okay.
Donald Trump's behavior has labeled him as a bigot, a racist, a Zionist, pretty much a classist man, just to name a few. Why has he earned your vote?
Well, Donald Trump's earned my vote for a lot of reasons. I think the key issue of our time is immigration. You look at the number of illegal aliens in this country committing crimes, prison, on welfare, and everything else. I work as a private investigator in my real life, and I go to Cook County Jail, Stateville Prison, and the population is 30-40% illegal aliens. They're not coming here all just to work.
All right. It has also been said that Trump embodies the rage of a middle-aged white man. In Florida, Trump's campaign manager forcibly grabs a female reporter by her arm and kind of shakes her around and attempts to make her move out of the conference room. What do you feel on those type of things? Do you feel like he's uniting or dividing?
I think he's uniting some people. He's dividing some other people. And, personally, the issue with people in the crowd, I don't necessarily think that's his fault, though I wish he wouldn't use such language to excite people to that point.
But you talk about his language. Is that something, a behavior that's acceptable for a presidential candidate?
Personally, I don't like it. I don't like it, but what you're seeing is a man who has never been in political office before. He's got a lot of experience in business and a lot of experience in entertainment. And a lot of what he's doing is very entertaining to an awful lot of people. And that's what you're seeing. You're seeing a man who doesn't practice everything he says and doesn't monitor every word that comes out of his mouth. You're seeing a guy with not a lot of experience as a politician.
But the president is supposed to unite all people. So you said earlier in your comments that he's uniting some and maybe having a division with others. But why is that okay if he's supposed to, as the president of the United States?
This question. Barack Obama, has he divided the country or brought it together?
Has he?
He's divided the country.
Let's talk about it.
I really wish he would have brought the country together.
In what way do you feel like he divided the country?
Everything. President Obama, like him or hate him, is the least qualified, least competent man who's ever been president of this country. He doesn't have the resume to manage a bar. He really doesn't. And every single failure in his administration by everybody in his administration and the media has been blamed on his race. And I think that's unfortunate.
Now, you just said that President Obama has no political experience. You do realize President Obama was a senator before he became...
He was a senator in the state of Illinois. He served 40 days in the Senate before he announced he was running for president.
Okay.
But that does not... Go ahead, Rob.
He also was a state senator in the state of Illinois.
With 2 terms?
Mm-hmm.
4 years.
Okay. How much experience does Donald Trump has in any political arena?
Oh, none whatsoever.
Is that
and
what
you're
draws
seeing
him
that.
to you?
That's one of the things the thing that draws me to Donald Trump is the immigration. I think he's right on with immigration. I think he realizes. I myself am a business owner. I think he realizes the business environment, especially in Chicago, is toxic. It's very difficult to start a business in this town in this country. I mean, number one, you hire a person, you pay a person $10, $20 an hour. You have to pay him another $20 an hour in health care coverage.
Well, I personally, I don't think there's a comparison to a Donald Trump and President Obama, because when you're competitors, I'm only competitive with you if I'm in your league. And Donald Trump is not in President Obama's league. President Obama has arrived twice at where Donald Trump is yet to come. So it's not even a guarantee that Donald Trump will be what President Obama has already earned the right. Like you said, like him or not, he was a great man to bring the country together, because he fought for things that communities that are often underserved will continue to be. And that's what I hear when I hear Donald Trump speak. I hear him speak, as you said, he's unifying some and dividing others. I think he's unifying people that think like he speaks. And he's saying things that people don't get the platform to ordinarily speak to.
Well, I'll say this, the inner city in Chicago. I'm in the inner city almost every day. I've been in the city almost every day for the last 20 years. That's where I work. Is it any better now than it was 20 years ago? Looks about the same or worse.
Well,
Black unemployment is what, 35, 40%?
Well, what is white unemployment? We've had an issue where we had a president who had 2 terms who pretty much ran the government into the ground. So everyone's unemployment was low. Margins of unemployment. And
well, what is the real measure of unemployment?
The real measure of unemployment is people with jobs.
Okay, so what you're talking about is the employment participation rate.
Right.
The employment participation rate now is, the unemployment would be about 35%. In the black community, it'd be 50%. That's the real number.
That's the real number. And you know why? It's because we had a president who pretty much ran our economy into the ground before Barack Obama came to office.
Donald Trump has repeatedly pointed to the loyalty of his listeners. He even made a comment that was just so crazy that he can stand in the middle of Fifth Avenue and shoot somebody and he still wouldn't lose votes. What would he say to make you not want to vote for him? Is there anything that he can say?
Yeah, I'm sure there's something he could say, but again, he's not a politician. He doesn't have a background as a politician. He's got a background as an entertainer and a businessman, and you're seeing that. There are some rough edges. He's a New Yorker. There's some rough edges to him, and I really think that's what it is.
Well, thank you, Larry, for joining us today. People, exercise your right to vote. Do some research on this upcoming presidential election. Your very life could depend on it. He said, she said. Back in a moment.
Welcome back. It is time for In My Humble Opinion. This is the part of the show where we talk to you, our viewers, via social media. Today's question comes from Ron Norgren via Periscope, and Ron wants to know, will there ever be in your lifetime another black president? You guys ready? Let's see.
Ready. Dear Mr. President, I write this letter to you as your term as President of the United States nears its end. I just want to say thank you, sir, for the work that you have done for the lives of Americans for the past 8 years. Of course, not everybody cares for you or some of your policies, but that's to be expected, especially since you are the first black man to become President of the United States. I'm happy that my beloved grandmother, who never thought in a million years that there would be a black president, got to see you take office. She was 89 when she died in the summer of 2010, so she knows the struggles of blacks in America, even witnessing some of those struggles firsthand. But she was so proud of you, so proud in fact that she had a framed picture of you on her living room table. I too am proud that I was able to make history by supporting your campaign. I was elated when I was asked to host a fundraiser in your honor and even got the opportunity to do the electric slide with your bride at the after party. That was fun, and although I was hoping it would happen, little did I know you would become president just months later. Oh, by the way, thank you for the nice thank you letter that hangs in the hallway of my home. Mr. President, not everyone is a fan. Although you are sensitive to the needs of good health for every American, some ridiculed your signing into law the Affordable Care Act. Personally, I thought it was a good idea because I was one of those who risked being without insurance due to a significant loss of income. And so for that, I say thank you. You rallied up the troops to take down a man who was an immediate threat to this country, and yet you were criticized because you took credit for the death of Osama bin Laden, even though you clearly gave a testament to the courage, selflessness, and teamwork of America's armed forces. Oh, Mr. President, I could go on and on about all of the negativity that threatens to smear your presidency. Keep your head up because you have changed the world. Your legacy will go down in the history books with the likes of Harriet Tubman, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., and many other Black Americans who shaped America. In the face of adversity, you continue to stand strong, never seeming to waver on your decisions and actions. The disrespect is so real that even some who supported you in the beginning started turning their backs on you because of how the media portrays your presidency. And while we're on the media, I hate the fact that you are referred to as Obama. I just hate it. In closing, I am looking forward to seeing what the next phase of your life will bring as you relinquish the duties of leader of the free world. And although I know you are not a perfect man, you certainly have proven that you can lead a country that unfortunately is still full of racism, hatred, division, and uncertainty. To all of those who had something negative to say about your presidency, I wonder what they're thinking now with the circus atmosphere of American politics. Bow out gracefully, sir, and may God continue to bless you and your family, and may God bless America. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next time.